Hi, thought I'd do another video, and this one's on muscular dystrophy and the Labor Day telethon. This year, the telethon falls on September 7th. Jerry Lewis started working on the telethon in 1966. I guess it was started earlier in the 50s, but that's when Jerry started working on it. I was 13 years old. And Jerry ended it in 2009, doing his part of it, when I was 55 years old. The telethon used to run for 24 hours, and I used to stay up and watch as long as I could. Jerry Lewis said how it would always be for his kids, and the government would not be involved, and they would do it until a cure was found. In the early 80s, stations started cutting back to 6 hours instead of 24 hours. And the entertainment was from usually Vegas, California, and New York. Um, Jerry, for health reasons, had health issues, and he got out of it. And there were legal matters, and I think he owned a lot of the rights. So now I believe the telethon's only about 2 hours on Labor Day. I think that really bites. I have always known people with muscular dystrophy since I was 5 years old and went to school with other disabled children since 1958. By 8 years old, many of the kids told me about it, and I tried to learn all about it. When we moved to California in 1964, I went to the school called Irving in West Dallas, and there were disabled kids there. And part of the school was for normal kids. I guess it's, like I said, still the same today. I called up there not too long ago, a year or so ago. My class had kids from the 4th through 6th grade. Michael Slater was in my 4th grade class. He had been in a wheelchair since he was 3 years old with muscular dystrophy. Peter Laketide was just coming to our school. He told us he had just gotten muscular dystrophy and he was coming to our school. Michael and I knew that wasn't true, that he was born with it. I helped Michael do everything. Set up his book holder so he could read, put a pen in his hand, and pushed him in a wheelchair. I would walk in back of him, put my arm around him, and lean him forward, and lean on the backrest of the chair I was walking in, and I would run with him, and when we played sports like dodgeball or t-ball, and no matter how people's abilities were, we were always cheerful and supportive of one another. During 4th grade, I was moved up to 5th grade. It was for a short period of time. It was not because of the work was too difficult for me, but in orthopedic school, a lot of your work is individualistic and depends on your disability, your surgeries, and your learning capabilities. Just a year before in Belmont, California, I did my second and third grade work in 1 year with another person. Anyway, they put me back in the 4th grade because of Michael and Peter. We were such good buddies, and I guess they talked it over with my parents, and that's what they decided. And I think, wow, my life would have been different if I would have stayed in 5th grade. We graduated a year later, had different teachers, and everything would have been different. Well, in 5th grade, Peter read an encyclopedia that they're about muscular dystrophy and about proteins and muscles, and that there was really nothing that he could really do about it. He was really pissed off at his parents, and Michael and I told him, well, they probably did that because they loved you. That's why they lied to you and wanted you to try to live a normal life. He said he was going to be different and that he would fight it. He wouldn't end up in a wheelchair. And Michael said, well, that's not true. You're going to end up in a wheelchair just like me and die early. In sixth grade, I never saw anybody fight so hard to stay out of a wheelchair, but of course, there was nothing that he could do. The following year, I went to regular school. I never saw Michael or Peter again. I heard after high school that Michael died at 18. His parents divorced. He was put into a nursing home, and that's where he died. Peter, I don't know how long he lived to be. At the same time in Irving, there was also a kid named Gary. He had muscular dystrophy. He was in the seventh grade, but he got real skinny. He ended up using oxygen where he would only be off it for 5 minutes, an hour. He was tired of it. When his parents went out, he would drink and smoke cigarettes with his brothers. One day we came to school and got off the bus, and people were crying and freaking out, especially the younger kids. So I and my friend Dale Herman, another friend with cerebral palsy, went up to the kids, trying to calm them down, telling them he is no longer in pain and suffering. It seemed so strange to me, so many adults bitching about politics daily. People like Donald Trump arguing daily, and even people in his own party. So many people are able to grow up, get a job, and buy a house, and even have a family, and so many of them are so unhappy. I see this daily in life, and it gets me upset that so many people even have to get drunk or get high just to cope with life. So many people roll their eyes if you say you believe in God. Believing in God can be cool if you don't tell me how I need to perceive or look at God, especially the conservative Christian right. So many of my friends only lived to their teens. This is my first story about muscular dystrophy. I have so many friends who had it, and they touched my life and showed me at an early age what is important in this life. Adults acting stupid and hating one another should not be what it's all about. When we were children, we were told we were put here to learn to love and appreciate one another. Peace and love to people out there in video land. Be good to one another. I know people who have been afraid of me for no good reason in this life. Feel kind of sad for them, their trust issues. Maybe they have a hard time telling the difference between fact and fantasy on radio or TV. Or maybe they read between the lines too much. Who knows? Thanks, Michael, Peter, and Gary, for touching me in my life. And your lives mattered.